Hi everybody, my name is Jessy and thank you so much for joining me today. So I have this thought in my head and I've been thinking about it for quite a while now, but I'm only just starting to feel comfortable enough to say it to you. Hang on, sidestep. I know that this isn't a revolutionary idea, by the way, but it's been something that I've had in my mind for the longest time. And it's this idea that people fear what they don't understand. So if someone doesn't understand something, their human instincts will tell them to be afraid. Now, what does that fear lead to? Misunderstanding, miscommunication, and if you allow it to stay inside your head long enough, it then manifests itself into hatred or dislike for something. And that is something that I've been thinking about for a while, and how fear starts off as something innocent, like lack of understanding. Then it turns into hate. Where am I going with this? I think it's because as human beings, or shall I say as adults have a funny way of being afraid to be wrong and for being ashamed to be wrong, when actually, as I always say, it's a human thing in us to be wrong and to be able to learn. Now, some people are fantastic, and even if they struggle to admit they're wrong, they are willing to learn. So I absolutely resonate and respect people who live the philosophy of always learning, and that's how I am, and that's how I like to live my life. I have things that I'm very firm in, and have really strong beliefs in. However, I am always open for conversation when it comes to somebody disagreeing with me or trying to teach me a different way of thinking of things. All I ever ask is that you do so with respect and you do so with kindness. The other day, my partner was mentioning this song that he really liked by, let me just think, I forgot his name. Typical me. But in the song they quote this thing, and I'm not going to say it verbatim because, as you know, I'm not great at repeating quotes, but it's something like, people are much more afraid to be called a racist than they are afraid of being a racist. And that is just such a mind-blowing thing for me, because it's very much like people are much more afraid to be called wrong than to admit that they're wrong. And I feel like I want to help you get to a point where you take points like the racism topic or racism quote that I just mentioned, and then turning it into something that you also, if you're going through some kind of struggle, you can also relate to it. Because if we start to allow ourselves to have a different way or critical thinking, then we're open to learning, and we can open up our opportunities and also our understanding of the world. Now, I'm not saying you're going to understand everything, but if you open yourself up to learning, then you'll find that you'll learn much more quickly, and you'll do so in a more enjoyable and more fulfilling way. I wanted to open up this conversation for us to have a discussion on this idea as to whether, you could disagree with me about, lack of understanding leading to fear, which then leads to hate. I don't want anyone to come away from these videos feeling like a horrible person, because for me, you watching this video and allowing yourself to watch someone else have a different opinion is a great way for you to start thinking, okay, well, do I need to learn something new, or do I need to learn something different? Or was there a different way I could be looking at this? You'll be surprised, if you allow yourself to do this, how much better you will feel inside of yourself. I'm not saying that, all of your fears is not justified, because you have your story and you have your experiences, and only you can really know whether everything that I'm saying or some of the things I'm saying is applicable in your life. All I'm saying is, isn't it funny how much hate there is in the world, and how few of us question where that hate has come from? I don't want to excuse anybody who is actually a bad person, because come on, there are billions and billions of people in this world. If you don't feel like someone can be helped, then move along. If you tried your best to educate them and they just weren't willing, move along. It's not your job. You're not their teacher. Even if you are a teacher, you're clearly not the teacher for this specific thing, and that's okay, because you shouldn't waste your energy. Move on to somebody else who is more willing or has potential to learn and educate themselves. And I'm not talking about education, by the way. I don't know enough about education to be giving advice. I'm just talking about educating people on life. We all are. We're all students of life. And right now I'm relishing the moments that I can spend learning, growing, experimenting. And yes, it's a scary thing. It is a scary thing to allow yourself to start fresh almost and be a beginner again. But it's all part of the learning process. And rather than allowing myself or allowing fear to stop me, I'm just kind of going with it. And that's okay. It's human in us to allow ourselves to have that room for growth and flexibility, really. If I fail at the end of this, it was under my terms. I did what I did to make myself feel more confident. But the one thing I don't want to do is allow my mind and my ability to learn break this whole idea that I can be afraid and I will let that stop my life, really. And I encourage you to do the same. I encourage you to embrace your ability to learn, to be wrong sometimes, and to admit that, because when you can finally admit that you're wrong, you will be able to learn new things and you will be able to learn better ways to handle things. And surely that's only better for you, really. Surely that is something that you will hopefully be able to thrive with, and it will help you have a more fulfilling and more successful life. If we start calling out as well, it's not just about us and what we do for ourselves or what other people can do for us, it's also what we can do for other people. So if we embrace and encourage and champion this idea that it's okay to be wrong and it's okay to be afraid of something or not understand something, and you can admit that. If you can mix yourself with different people, it will allow you to have different opinions, and then you can decide from there what you want to believe in, what you think is right. Let yourself grow, because otherwise you're just stuck just as you are. And whilst I encourage you to love yourself internally, I also acknowledge that there are people just like me who want to develop ourselves. And you've already taken that first step by sitting here, listening, and being like, okay, well, I'm open. You're not going to agree with everything I say. I'm not going to agree with everything you say. But as long as we keep this open discussion, we admit when we're afraid of something or don't understand something, we're stopping that moment. We're stopping these ideas, this fear from developing into hate, and that is when we become destructive to our fellow people. I'm not preaching, I'm not a perfect person, but this is why every video I say, I'm on a journey. You're welcome to join me. You're welcome to join me as long as you are going to contribute positively rather than just bring in negativity. Now, we're going to have some down days, some days when we don't feel good. And this is why the community is even more important, to uplift each other. There are many right answers for one question. And all I ask is that do not let your lack of understanding, misunderstanding, or even fear bubble up inside of you and then turn into hate. Going back from hate to positivity is a hard thing to do. It's not impossible, but it's hard. So whilst you can recognize that you have growing and learning still to do, then you're okay. You're on the right path. You're going the right way. Don't worry. If you want to join us, we will be here. Call us your accountability buddies. We can do this together and we can make this world a better place. We just have to start thinking about how we can re-educate ourselves and also be open to learning from other people who we may not ever get to meet in real life. It's okay. The world is massive and there are so many amazing teachers we haven't met yet. I'm really excited to meet my future teachers within our community. I hope you are too. Have a good day and I'll speak to you later. Bye!